Samuelson was on the ice in the morning skate the other day.
Yeah.
See him out there today.
He is in Rochester. He skated yesterday.
Okay.
Just we're gonna have him go through the process there before he reintegrates here. So he'll stay there. He won't be on the trip. Eakin will be on the trip,
Okay.
and then the guys you saw out there. So we had one extra forward, one extra D, and Eakin will go on the trip.
He's going to play tonight in Belleville?
He will not. No, he's not cleared to play. So he's going to be another week. We figured he wasn't going to be able to play on this trip anyway, to get a more consistent practice time. And I know they're traveling anyway, but we just figured it was a better spot for him to start that process.
And how far is Cody Eakin away? Just he's going to go on the trip?
You know, we talked about Thursday. You know, he wasn't out there today, so I don't expect him tomorrow. But we do expect him on this trip. So whether that's the next game or not, we're going to gauge it. Probably reintegrate in practice right after tomorrow's game, and then we'll get a better gauge.
What did you find out about Casey a couple days ago?
I did not find out any more other than it's encouraging. Like the healing process is going, you know, as good as we had hoped. You know, like I said, his timetable's less than Yoki's. Yoki's, the injury just says, boom, this is the timetable. And with Mitzi, there's that day-by-day checking. And so he's definitely going the right direction. He's not going to go on the trip so he can stay here and keep doing the rehab. It's progressing him, and, you know, the hope is very shortly or immediately when we get back that he'd be able to, you know, integrate with us right away.
As far as the hay asset line, they've been very efficient in shutting down the opposition. Just how do they complement each other? What's gone into making them so effective, I guess?
Well, they both have such great experience. That helps them. I mean, they play the game, they see the game with a lot of experience in different situations, and they play well together. I mean, every situation that they're in it as a pair. So, you know, they've used some veteran savvy, I guess, and they work. I mean, they pay attention. They want to lead. Like I've mentioned several times, they're great leaders for us back there. So, you know, I guess there's just a lot of different little subtleties to their game that add up to playing more efficient.
With your history with Kajula and just the speed element that he brings, how important is he in, I guess, playing the way that you guys want to play, maybe even just being an example for the rest of the group, since he does fit so well and he executes within the framework?
Yeah, I mean, Drake and Vinny, but we're talking about Drake here, and you know, the speed, the competitiveness, the relentless. I mean, he is relentless. So those are attributes that, you know, we targeted in signing him. I mean, these are the attributes that I loved in him when I was with him years ago, and had a chance to get him last year. And those are, you know, those influence everybody and push everybody around him and set the tempo, set the tone, the pace. So, you know, he hasn't found his game yet. He hasn't gotten there. So hopefully the goal the other night helps him. You know, and a lot of times with these guys that are ultra competitive, it's just relaxing a little bit, you know, because they're just they want everything now, and Drake's one of those guys. But yeah, he brings a lot. There's a lot in that package.
Do you feel, guys in your bottom six, I understand they're not going to be 20, 25 goal scorers, but do you feel also that they have their role, but they still have to contribute somewhat offensively in some cases?
Absolutely. You know, they'll score. I think everybody has to be ready to score. I mean, you know, we're going to generate chances whether you're on the third line or fourth line. Every team does. It's not we. So, you know, you got to be ready to score. It's just, you may get fewer chances, you may get less ice time, but we need you to score. And I can remember even telling kids when I was with the national team, I do not need a 1 or 2 goal scorer at World Championships. I need guys who can score, even on our fourth line. You know, because again, the first 2 lines get great matchups. I mean, their teams are watching and making sure those guys feel miserable, your first 2 lines. So you need your third and fourth line, however it lays out, to be able to produce and be confident enough to produce. So that's a big part of it, Paul, is getting those guys to, you know, to believe and become confident in scoring. And it probably is a much different way than your first 2 lines will score. But no, that's good.
What kind of impact just has Robert had in the room, just being a young veteran and just the personality he has? He always seems to have a line or a joke or something.
Yeah, he does. He keeps the room loose, but you know, he's very cognizant of the intensity that's needed, the respect for the competitiveness that's needed. But he's such a balanced person. I can recall my first conversation with him, when we made the trade. And I didn't know what we were getting. And I call him, and you don't know what, I mentioned this, you don't know what's going to happen on the other end of the line, how bummed out the guy's going to be. The enthusiasm he had was inspiring to me. It got me excited. At the end of that call, I was excited to have an opportunity to coach this guy or to be with this guy on a team. He said, I got a wedding in Philadelphia on August 9th or something, and I just want to go to Buffalo right from there. I want to stay there until the season starts. And he did that. He stayed here. I mentioned to you guys, even on the weekends, he'd come in here and work out during the week, and on the weekends he would go bike rides with one of our strength coaches. And so he was engaged in what we want to do here in Buffalo and engaged in knowing that, I want to be part of this this team and this team winning and this team being successful. And he's shown every bit of that every moment he's been here in all areas. So it's pretty cool to see him interact and integrate. And I continue to mention him as one of our leaders. So
It's just a straight line.
Yeah.
He doesn't get real excited. He doesn't get real down. How does his personality fit the way he plays? Do you think?
It's a direct correlation. And a lot of times that's the case, and this is definitely the case. Mark he's a guy. He's a very balanced guy. He's a guy that has a great perspective now through his career, but never too high, never too low. Never, he reacts, but he never overreacts, and that's what I like about him. He reacts how you should react. Doesn't overreact, and obviously doesn't underreact and brush things off. He's businesslike, but he's also there's personality there, there's a smile on his face, and so again, you were talking about Robert Hagg, then we talk about Mark, and I keep mentioning how valuable they are from a leadership standpoint.
Talk about those two guys, and then Kajula and Estroza. These are all guys on one-year deals, or guys who came with something to prove. Is there a dynamic that comes from that, and maybe spreads throughout the team?
Yeah, I mean, there's an accountability mechanism that's automatic on that. You're going you're in the last year of your contract, and or you've come from places where you feel that you wish you could have done better, you should have done better, or you wish you could have had more opportunity. Whatever it may be, you're hungry, and who doesn't like hungry players and good ones? And so we believed in these guys before we signed them or traded for them or acquired them. And for the reasons you just mentioned, and I have, and that goes a long way, especially in this business, because it's a grind, and they've got reason to grind through it. And then that I didn't mention is they're all passionate about the game, obviously. So that just fit what we're putting together here and what we wanted to put together here, and need to continue to put together. I mean, it's not like we've accomplished anything. We've got a long way to go, but that's the core of what we're trying to put together.